Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Prashanta Upreti. I'm a senior technical consultant. I mostly work as a consultant for Fortune 500 companies. So today I'll be explaining about Microsoft Azure Platform Protection, security technologies, and threat insight. So it will be really interesting, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy this. So let's move forward, and thank you so much for being here. So the introduction is about the Azure as a security imperative. I'm going to give you a couple of things about what's going on in this environment. So Azure adoption has reached 69% among enterprises in 2025. 45% of data breach now originated in cloud environment, which means like we had to be very much cautious about cloud security. Azure workload face zero-day attacks, supply chain exploits, and credentials abuse a lot of time. So we will cover security stack such as Defender, Sentinel, Entra-ID, Firewall, Key Vault, attacker tactics, and actionable defense insight. Moving on to next slide, it's Azure Security Architecture, which is about pillars and technologies. So first one will be Zero Trust for implementation of the Zero Trust Foundation. Never trust, always verify. The key pillar will be identity, network, compute, data, security operations. The second is about defense in depth, which ensure multiple layer of protections. The core technologies that are used here will be Defender for cloud, Sentinel, Entra-ID, Firewall, Key Vault, and policies. Recent breaches and trends. So 80% of the companies suffer cloud security incident in between 2024 to 2025. The major breaches are Snowflake, Microsoft, and CrowdStrike. So attack type is credential abuse, multi-factor authentication bypass, CI and CD exploit. The MFA is heavily hacked in August in 2025 in Canada too, so think about it. So the root cause is misconfiguration, excessive privilege, and delayed in patching the problems or the incident. Shared responsibility model. So Azure Context, Azure Secure Core Infra, Hypervisor, and Fabric. Customer Secure is about identity, configuration, patching, secrets, and compliance. Security is only as strong as tenant configuration and hygiene. CVE1 and vulnerability landscape in August 2025 itself is 107 Microsoft CVE patches, 13 were critical and 91 were important. Azure specific CVEs, it's 2025, it's like a 53,765, CVSS10, CVE 2025 is 53,792, CVSS 9.1. So 40% elevation of privilege, 30% remote code execution. Rapid patching is critical to reduce exposure. Identity is the new parameter over here. 83% of the cloud breaches are identity related, so that's why we need to secure it and we need to learn how to secure it. So that's why advisories target privileged role and legacy account. The best practice will be centralized Entra-ID, conditional access, passportless, ZTI roles, and RBAC. RBAC is like role-based access control. Entra-ID essentials and control. The core control will be SSO single sign-on, MFA multi-factor authentication, conditional access, privileged identity management, which will be ZID. RBAC is role-based access control. So disable legacy protocol, it's POP and IMP. Passport protection plus SSPR, regular access review and break class account is required. So the real world identity attack, AiTM phishing. So AiTM toolkit is Evil Gin X and Modelix bypass, which is able to bypass the multi-factor authentication. Attacker state credentials per session cookies used for BEC, persistent and lateral movement. Detection require continuous monitoring of Sentinel integration. So the Azure Network Protection overview, it's about Azure Firewall, Network Security Group, DDoS Protection, WAF and BASN, segmentation, reduce blast radius, WAF now support CAPTCHA for bot and credential stopping protection. So Azure Firewall premium capabilities. So TLS infection is one of the function. IDPS will be another. URL filtering, web categories. These are the premium functions. The integrated with Defender, Sentinel, and Security Copilot. Premier enables deep visibility and compliance-ready operations. Azure Compute Security Fundamental. The scope will be VMs, app service, containers, and functions. Defender for cloud plus endpoint. It's unified TVM and EDR. Agentless scanning will be CMK encrypted workload. OS baseline enforced via policy and guest configuration. So Azure Data Security and Key Vault, it's about data secured in transit TLS, at rest AS256, in use confidential compute. So the Key Vault is central secret and key management. The best practice is about RBAC or PIM, private endpoint, auto rotation, login, and defense alert. Microsoft Sentinel Security NORP Center. So the cloud native SIM or SOAR with Defender XDR. It's going to be AI-driven analytics, cross-cloud injection. So technically, Microsoft Sentinel or AI-driven analytics. So the profound change had entered the market because of integration of AI in each and every tools in 2024 and 25. So it started back in 2020, late 2022. So support Mitra attack and CK mapping, playbook automate incident response, disable user and revoke token and block IPs. Emerging threat and future trends. So zero trust is the standard, passportless JIT everywhere. So AI-driven attack versus AI-driven defense, quantum safe cryptography adoption, cloud native security plus compliance automation. The final recommendation for a senior consultant will be enforce multi-factor authentication plus conditional access to protect the system, centralize identity and the access review, integrate Defender for cloud plus Sentinels, segment network plus premium firewall, secure secret in Key Vault with RBAC and PIM, shift security left with DevSecOps, and prepare for AI and quantum-driven future. The shared responsibility model inside the Azure security is like in the physical layer. It will be data center, hardware, and backbone. Customer responsibility is network security group, WAF, perimeter security setting. So the layer about host and hypervisor, it's about patching, anti-DDoS, in identity and access layer. So it's about intra ID availability and role-based access APIs, which is about Microsoft responsibility. The customer responsibility is about role-based access control, multi-factor authentication, conditional access, admin hygiene. In the data protection layer, Microsoft responsibility is about infra encryption as rest or transit. Customer responsibility is about key and secret management, data loss prevention and backups, apps and PaaS in the layer, platform as a service. Microsoft responsibility is PaaS, the operating system, runtime and infra, and app code.
Pardon the interruption. Will the parents of
Compute related CV years of 2025. The CV is about CV 2025 and 53778. So the vector is about Windows, NTLM, EOP. Severity is 8.8. Exploit example is system privilege for attackers. CV on 2025, it's 5016. 5, it's about graphical RCE. Severity is 9.8. JPEG trigger remote code execution. So they send the thing on the encrypted in the JPEG image. So CV on 2025 53767 is Azure Open AI deployment. Severity is 10. Full Azure resources compromise. CV 2025 49707 Azure VM spoofing. CV is about 7.9. It's about identity spoof and dynamic surfing. Azure firewall standard versus premier. So the features of standard versus premium. So stateful filtering is present in standard and premium. Threat intel filtering is also present in standard and premium. TLS inspection is only present in premium. IDPS is also only present in premium. URL filtering is only present in premium. In the web categories, it's about basic in standard and fine in premium. AI driven analytics, you will get partial in standard and full in premium. CV's severity distribution August 2025. So CV's severity distribution on August 2025 is very critical, is 13, low is 1, moderate is 1, 85.8% is important. So the critical is about 12.3% exactly, but around 13% it's really critical, so we had to protect it. So identity secure score trends, it's about in the finance and manufacturing. Manufacturing is in the top and finance is in 67%. So Zero Trust architecture overview, it's something like least privilege access, verify explicitly, assume breach, and monitor continuously.